Microphone on, camera on. Welcome to the Hardy X channel. Right now, we're going to look at my fantasy football lineup for the 2015 through 2016 NFL season. I use CBS Sports Fantasy Football. I like it better. The league that I'm in is called the Hardy Yak Fantasy League. Yes. And I am the Rhode Island Stampede. And I've got my lineup, and I'll start with the bench first. Bench on quarterback, I've got Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton. For my backup halfbacks on the bench, I've got Le'Veon Bell for Pittsburgh. The reason why I have him on the bench and not on the starter position is because he is suspended for the first 2 games of the NFL regular season. This hat fits the mold perfectly. And I've got Monty Ball, running back or halfback for Denver, on the bench. Yeah, not surprised there. Got wide receiver Julian Edelman on the bench for New England on the bench. The reason why is because Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be taking the place of Tom Brady for his, I believe, 4-game suspension. The Patriots face the Steelers. I doubt that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have an easy time going against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. It may. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers look like a pretty solid team this year, and I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo having a good game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I personally know a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and he's just happy that Tom Brady is going to be sitting out. He's hoping that Jimmy Garoppolo is not like a diamond in a pile of shit, just waiting to be dug up and exposed like Tom Brady was with Drew Bledsoe on the bench. That's just what he's hoping for, and I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo doing much against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And then for my bench, with the tight end, I have Kyle Rudolph on the Minnesota Vikings. They're going up against my team, the San Francisco 49ers. And he's not projected for that many points. I don't usually go off of projected points. I just go off of who's the better choice, and I don't see Kyle Rudolph being the better choice. And the reason why is because on my starter team, let me start with the defense and the kickers. For kickers, I've got Chris Barth. Let me say that's Chris Barth, right? Oh, I'm sorry, Connor Barth, kicker for the Denver Broncos. I only picked up one kicker. And then my defensive team, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, last year I didn't do a fantasy football league, but the year before that I did, and I believe I had the Chiefs defense for that as well. And the Chiefs are going into Houston to face the Houston Texans, and I feel as though they can really get a lot done, especially with Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett fighting and battling for the starting quarterback position in Houston. I think it's going to be a little bit of a problem over the first couple of weeks, and I don't see Houston getting past the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line. Now in the starting positions, I will compare my starters to the ones on my bench. For my bench quarterback, I have, of course, Andy Dalton, starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. But my starting quarterback, I have Drew Brees, starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. And right now, he's got a little bit under 100 points projected more than Andy Dalton. Not to mention, Andy Dalton's going up against the Oakland Raiders, so maybe he'll have a better time than Drew Brees will against the Arizona Cardinals. I may have to change that, but for right now, I want to see how Drew Brees does, especially under pressure against the Arizona Cardinals defense. And then, of course, I have on my starting halfbacks, I have Jonathan Stewart, starting halfback for Carolina, and then I have Lamar Miller, starting halfback. I'm sorry, not quarterback. Starting halfback for the Miami Dolphins. And then I compare those to Le'Veon Bell and Monty Ball. Le'Veon Bell won't be playing the first game, so the only other option I'll have is Monty Ball, who's playing for the Denver Broncos and is going up against the Baltimore Ravens defense. However, my halfback positions, I have Jonathan Stewart, who's on Carolina, going against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Lamar Miller, who's on Miami, going up against not solid Washington Redskins defense. So those are the two. Jonathan Stewart and Lamar Miller are my two best choices for starting halfback in Week 1. That may change with injuries, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And then, of course, receiver position, wideout position, I have T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, Doug Baldwin, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks or the She-Hawks, and Deshaun Jackson, who's a starting wide receiver for Washington. And in comparison, I have Julian Edelman on New England. I've already explained why Julian Edelman is not my pick to start, and of course, it's Jimmy Garoppolo and Julian Edelman's connection against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Whereas here with T.Y. Hilton, we've got the Colts. He's going up against on very lackluster Buffalo Bills defense in week 1. Doug Baldwin with Seattle going up against a very iffy St. Louis Rams defense, and then Deshaun Jackson with Washington going up against a little bit of a challenge with the Miami Dolphins defense, but hopefully that all plays out in my favor. Yeah, those are my biggest picks. With my tight end, I got Heath Miller, tight end for Pittsburgh going against New England, and he's actually projected to have 20 points less than Kyle Rudolph with the Minnesota Vikings against the San Francisco 49ers would have. And I admit Kevin Rudolph seems like a better pick than Heath Miller, but I want to see how Ben Roethlisberger and Heath Miller connect. I didn't really see too many receptions, too much connection between Heath Miller and Ben Roethlisberger last season. But then again, Kyle Rudolph with is it Matt Castle as starting? No, it's Teddy Bridgewater as starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater's still got a lot of improvement to go, and Kevin Rudolph doesn't seem as though he would get too many receptions, especially against my 49ers. My 49ers may not have the best defense, but I think they can stop Kyle Rudolph. And Heath Miller, of course, Ben Roethlisberger, veteran quarterback, very good at his job, can definitely connect with Heath Miller. The defense of the New England Patriots may be a little bit of a struggle to get over in week 1. However, I think Heath Miller will do pretty well against the Patriots. So that's my lineup. Starting quarterback, Drew Brees. Starting halfbacks, Jonathan Stewart and Lamar Miller. Starting wide receivers, I have T.Y. Hilton, Doug Baldwin, and Deshaun Jackson. Starting tight end, we have Heath Miller. Starting kicker, we have Connor Barth. We have starting our defense, Kansas City Chiefs defense. And on the bench, we have quarterback Andy Dalton. Halfbacks Le'Veon Bell and Monty Ball, and then wide receiver Julian Edelman, and tight end Kyle Rudolph. So that's my fantasy football lineup for week 1 of the regular season, the 2015 through 2016 NFL regular season. So you guys watching, I hope you enjoy. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. My name is Zach Hardy. Why do we keep saying that? Thank you guys watching. I hope you enjoy. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.